Well, welcome back, Trekkies.
Yes. Thanks for tuning in. It's a January day here in the Ozarks. It's a pretty day. It sounds like we might have some snowy weather rolling in here in the next couple days, but as of right now, it's pretty nice, kind of warming up today.
It is. I'm toasty in here. I'm sweating a little bit.
We kind of post ourselves up in front of the sun and then wonder why we're burning up.
Why am I squinting?
Yes.
Anyways, today we are going to talk about...
We're going to try to talk about
when... That one time when... Sorry. Okay. We are going to talk about when we went out and section hiked some of the AT.
Yeah. And for those of you that don't know, that is short for the Appalachian Trail. Yes, we're going to talk about our experience on the Appalachian Trail in September/October of 2021. Katy and I had the immense, wonderful opportunity to travel to Georgia and hike that section. Well, we started in Georgia and ended in North Carolina.
Yeah. I was trying to remember how we kind of originally were like, hey, do we want to go do this? I feel like it was one of those that sort of just emerged from the ether all of a sudden one day.
It kind of did. I think we were looking at some longer hikes all across the U.S. a bit and just kind of trying to find something with the right amount of mileage and with really pretty scenery. And I'm not sure how we landed on that.
Me either. I'm fuzzy on those details, but it was a good decision.
But we did. Seems almost like a lifetime ago in some ways now.
It does. I like to scroll through the photos sometimes and remind myself that it actually happened.
It did. It actually happened, and we had a hell of a great time.
Yeah, so we're going to talk mainly about just our time on trail, but we thought we'd talk a little bit about the planning that went into it, because prior to this trip, we really had only done 2 or 3 nighters. We had done our first infamous Tom Sock trip, but we had also done like a 2-nighter with some other friends. Mm-hmm. And besides that, mostly day hikes leading up to this, right?
Yeah, I think so.
That's what I was remembering.
Yeah, which is kind of amazing that we pulled this trip off the way that we did, considering we were still kind of getting our feet wet. But we did a really good job, but we'll get into that.
So anyways, if you're here, that's what's going on.
That's what we're talking about.
And I guess we'll jump in.
Yeah. So we chose this section, the Georgia section of the Appalachian Trail. And so immediately we both started researching what the trail was like, what we were going to be looking at, what our miles were going to be like, and just putting in as much research as possible, I think, beforehand.
Yeah, and for me, I watched a lot of YouTube videos of people that hiked.
Yeah.
And, with it being the Appalachian Trail and being more highly trafficked, it was much easier to find information, I feel like, on the terrain. Because a lot of people hike it, and a lot of people do start in Georgia and go north. So there were kind of a lot of videos of people hiking the section we were going to be hiking. And it was just really important to me to get an idea of the terrain after what we ran into in Tom Sock.
Yeah.
I feel like I really obsessed over, what does this look like?
I know.
Are there rocks?
Me too. I think we were both watching these YouTube videos, trying, kind of ignoring what they were talking about and looking at the ground around them oh, I don't see too many rocks.
Please stop videoing your face and show me the trail.
Exactly. So we both put in a ton of research, but like Katy said, obviously the Appalachian Trail is so popular, and that being kind of the launch point for so many people, it's really well traveled in Georgia, and there is quite a bit of information out there.
There is. I think I've mentioned in one of our episodes that they had a website for Georgia, specifically that section, and they were the ones that had that awesome spreadsheet that they keep updated with all the water sources. So that was another, and we'll link some of the resources we used.
Was that the Georgia Appalachian Club? maybe?
Something like that, yeah. I meant to write down the actual name of it.
Or Conservancy group, something along those lines. But there is a group, like, specific to Georgia that just had, like, wonderful resources on their website.
They had a great website, so that was a big one.
We also looked at a lot of Facebook pages specific to that section, just specific to the southern section in general, and I think those were helpful too.
Yeah. And that's kind of, if I remember right, how we ended up finding a lot of information about, like, the shuttle services available and some of those little details.
Yeah.
Some of the bigger aspects besides sort of planning for the terrain and, you know, where we were going was also zeroing in on our dates. Yeah. Which I feel like we had to kind of squeeze in between anniversaries and birthdays and stuff. But it did end up being a great time of year to go with September leading into October.
Yeah, I think we finished in October, just barely.
Yeah. I think, didn't I get back, like, the day before my anniversary?
I think so. That was part of the...
October 4th.
Yeah. Yeah, I think so. That sounds right. We wanted to get you home.
So as far as navigation goes, also Samantha ordered a map, and I downloaded Far Out for this trip.
At the time, it was called Gut Hook.
It was still called Gut Hook, so I downloaded the app and I bought the section just for... They kind of break it down in sections so you don't have to buy the entire Appalachian Trail guide.
Yeah, and I did buy maps, and as well, I also purchased the trail guide books, which I'll be honest, I don't feel like you have to navigate, but I just really enjoyed reading them while we were going through. They're like perma-grubby from me using it so much out there, just reading on it and with my grubby-ass hands. I was looking right here. Yeah, this was purchased from the Appalachian Trail Conservancy group, and I think that they have guidebooks for every section from Maine to Georgia. If you're interested, they are pretty cool. And super informative and lots of history and stuff. I've really enjoyed going back and reading about some different things in there too. So anyway.
I still have mine from Minnesota and I like to go through it sometimes.
Yeah. So looking at the terrain and whatnot, I think we pretty clearly had an idea that the section was going to be filled with what we learned. A new term for me anyway was PUDs. And that's the first time I had been exposed to that word. And what PUDs stands for is pointless ups and downs.
Oh, yes.
Yes. So, and there were lots of ups and downs, lots of climbing down in Georgia. So I think we knew that was going to be a part of it. We expected that, and it was a reality. So I think we both were training somewhat, probably not as much as we wanted to be.
Yeah, I think we did some day hikes. I know, and I honestly forgot this until I started kind of doing, like, trying to put the notes together for this, but I do remember putting my pack on about every day and just, like, walking laps in the field. But also I would just wear it in the house as I was doing dishes or cleaning house or whatever I was doing. I tried to load it up and just wear it to get used to it. But I also think that this is the first trip that I actually had Medusa on. Okay,
I was wondering about that.
Because I was thinking back to what we had done. Like, I might have done some of our day hikes, but as far as our overnight trips, I think this was her first big outing.
Wow.
Which is kind of special.
That's a special maiden journey for her.
I feel like I actually named her on this trip, maybe. Can't remember.
That seems right, though. Yeah. So, yeah, I think we both tried to do some physical training. I tried to step it up in the gym, was doing more day hiking. I didn't get in as much training as I wanted to because we were just busy trying to get everything together and trying to settle my life outside of backpacking to be flowing smoothly while I was gone. So I didn't actually prepare quite as much as I probably would have liked to. But all in all, it worked out, I guess.
That's how it usually goes. I kind of had big plans to train a lot harder or more consistently, but just kind of was what it was.
It was. Another thing that I worked a lot on in preparation was making dehydrated meals. I think we both kind of did some different things to get ready for our meals, and oftentimes we would like make a meal for 2 people. so we could share. So only had to make like half the number of days worth of meals, and Katie kind of did the same so we could share, and that kind of makes it easy and fun too.
It does, and that was a pretty big aspect of the planning, I think, was deciding whether or not we wanted to resupply or just carry the full amount.
Right.
Because we did kind of look at what our options were for resupplying, since we knew that we wanted to be out there about 8 or 9 days is what we had. So we had kind of looked at those options, but once we decided we wanted to just go ahead and carry, we had to plan out that many days worth of food. So
right. And that was kind of a job in and of itself, was just to plan out all the food and all the meals and make sure maybe we had a little bit extra and there was plenty. So that took some planning.
It really did.
The food portion, that was a lot of the planning.
It was
for me.
A divide and conquer operation. Yeah,
so we did decide against resupplying. I think the main resupply point is like 30, 40 miles in? 30 miles, I think. So at the time, we just felt like that wasn't far enough in the process to want to resupply. I think when we were actually on trail, we decided, oh yeah, we could have resupplied.
Yeah.
Like, that would have been fine. But we managed to pull it off 9 days without resupply. And, along the way, I kind of realized that's pretty rare.
Yeah, I didn't really think about it ahead of time until people pointed it out.
We didn't realize until we got out there and started having people tell us how badass we were, that we were in fact badass for doing 9 days in a row. Most people don't spend 9 days on the Appalachian Trail without a resupply. Maybe 7, I would say, would be max for most people.
That's what I've heard.
Yeah.
And I did randomly have it written down somewhere that whenever we headed out, I was carrying 8.5 pounds just of food.
Well, it's a long time out there.
Yeah, that was a lot of planning and prep, but well worth it.
Yeah. Would you do it differently if we had to go back? Would you resupply?
Like on that exact same section?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
It worked out. I
think it worked out fine, and I kind of liked having our own food because budget's kind of another part of that. It's not necessarily about, we could have mailed ourselves food, but...
Right.
Yeah, I don't know. I think on that same stretch, I might just do it the same way.
Just do it. And our packs and stuff are lighter now probably too, so that would already be a relief, but we did it 9 days. Something else that I did in order to prepare for the trip was just to book our shuttle services, which again, we looked at different Facebook pages and posts to try to figure out what the best option would be. And, that's not something you're going to want to wait to try to do until like right before you go. So we booked Ron. Ron's shuttle service. Look him up.
He stays busy.
He's a busy, busy man. But we'll talk about Ron maybe a little bit here in a minute.
We will.
Okay.
So yeah, I think that's most of the planning gear-wise. I think our few experiences before this we had already dialed in a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
I do think that one of the main things I'm super happy about before this trip was the Injinji toe liners.
Yes.
I don't think I'd had those prior to this. I think I maybe had got them there was one long day hike we did before, and I do remember having both Medusa and my toe socks at that point, but
yeah,
that was a big one for me.
That was kind of just a training trip though, almost.
Yeah.
That was my first one with my Injinji toe socks as well, and they really took good care of my feet.
That was the start of the love affair.
It really was. There's no turning back after that point.
So the only other thing I have to say about the planning really is that I was really surprised by how nervous I was the night before.
So nervous.
I think I'd been so wrapped up in the planning leading up to that I didn't have time to get anxious about it. But I do remember the night before just kind of having that like, oh God.
I was a mess. I was an absolute emotional mess through a whole lot of this trip, including just preparing to go. It's a long time to be gone. Long time to be gone away from home. Long time away from my kids. And it was a process for me working through that. But I got really nervous as well. But excited too.
Yeah.
From what I remember, Our drive out to Georgia was pretty easy and painless. Not much to report. I think we made pretty decent time.
It was long.
Yeah, it's a long trip. I should have noted how long it took us, but I don't. We stayed in a Best Western in Murphy, North Carolina. And I think woke up quite early that first day of the actual hiking in order to meet Ron. And I think it was too early to even have continental breakfast. I think we had to eat in our room because it wasn't even like time for that yet.
I remember having a granola bar and a banana.
The banana. Yeah.
So yeah, day one basically started off waking up and meeting Ron at, was it U.S. Forest Service Road? No, that's where we started.
Yeah, we met him at the Deep Gap Trailhead in North Carolina. I don't remember what time it was, but it was early in the morning. It was a busy trailhead, several cars down there. And it seems like it was almost 2 hours after we got picked up until we got
that seems
on
about
trail.
Right.
Yeah. It was a long drive, and we had to stop, get gas with Ron and such.
Yeah. And he, when we were on that ride, he is a wealth of information, obviously, as much as he does this. But he was, like, drilling us about our agenda, what our plan was for, like, day by day.
Right, which we hadn't.
You know, it's like we had planned, and we even had it kind of notated, written down what we were going to do, but he started asking all these questions, and it was like immediate panic on my end. I'm like, oh,
I
God.
know.
And making his recommendations, you know, and like warning us about different areas, which was actually nice. Afterwards, we were joking that we should have recorded him.
I know. Well, he started busting out with all this info, and I didn't have paper on me.
I know.
So Ron of Ron Shuttle Service is a super informative guy. He knows just about, I think, everything there is to know about that section of trail. He's wonderfully helpful. Quite the character.
Yeah.
I think his navigation system, it was set on like Halloween mode or something, and he called it like was it Dr. Nightmare?
Something like that.
Something like that. Again, Ron was pretty great. Really informative and helpful in that sense. He did mention boobs twice. I'm just going to say it. I question even bringing this up on the podcast.
They came up conversationally quite a bit.
Twice. Twice, which I feel like that's about 2 times too many for the first time I meet a middle-aged man. But at the same time, he was helpful and informative and not really trying to creep on us or anything.
No.
Just maybe a bit unnecessary.
He had big energy.
He did. Big boob energy.
He drove us to our starting point, which was a Forest Service Road 42 access. And I just wanted to throw in this little fun fact that although the southern terminus of the AT is technically on top of Springer Mountain in Georgia, most hikers begin at Amicalola Falls State Park. And then there's like an 8.5-mile hike. They call it the Approach Trail, and it goes straight up to Springer Mountain. But when we were in the planning phase, I remember we kind of talked about this, and based off of the time we had, we kind of opted to just not do the Approach Trail. Mm-hmm. And I think a factor was that we kind of were like, if we're going to go out there, we want to do the whole state of Georgia. Mm-hmm. And realistically, we felt like doing the Approach Trail was going to add an entire day. And so I feel like it's kind of tradition for through hikers, but since we were section hiking, I honestly didn't really give it a second thought when we decided that. I don't feel bad that we didn't do it.
Me either.
I think some people are like, oh, you gotta, but I just didn't really feel that way as a section hiker.
I don't think so either.
So that's why you start, if you're not going to do the Approach Trail, you end up starting on this Forest Service Road 42, and it's like 9/10 of a mile to hike up to Springer Mountain, and then you can officially start where the AT actually officially starts, and then backtrack a little bit. So.
The terminus.
The terminus.
Yes.
The southern terminus.
Well, first of all, can I just say that Katy had a banana on the car ride the whole way to Springer Mountain and decided she didn't want it. So she tried to just leave it in Ron's vehicle, just like leaving it back there.
Well, because he had his lunch on the seat, so I sort of was like pawing it over.
Right. And he has like people to shuttle all day long. We thought, somebody will want that banana.
Yeah.
Ron was not going to let Katy leave Springer Mountain without that banana, so he gave it back to her, and
he's like, "Don't forget your banana."
Yeah.
I'm like, "Thank you."
She I have a picture of it strapped to the back of her backpack, and it was like the banana that would just not go away.
It wouldn't, and I feel like I had kind of irrational irritation over having that banana. I'm like, it was my banana. I was responsible for it, but
right.
Damn it, I did not want it.
Come on, Ron, just take the banana, dude. Just take it.
He also distributes Tootsie Pops.
Oh, yeah, I forgot about his candy.
The way he does that is to say, "Hey, little girl, you want some candy?"
Right. Okay, so the ick factor has gone up a little bit when we're talking about Shuttle Ron, but still not a terrible man, you know? But if you are really offended by, boomers being boomers and saying that kind of stuff, you might not book with Ron. Yeah. I don't know. But I don't know, I don't think there could be anyone that knew much more about the area, so.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of a, what is that? What's the phrase I'm thinking of?
I mean, he's harmless.
He is.
If maybe a little offensive, okay, but.
Well, and I will say, doing that job, he probably has to kind of read the room a little bit, you know? And I feel like he probably tries to gauge what the group, and we're both pretty easygoing, so, if we had immediately got offended, boobs might have only been mentioned once.
It's true. He might not have practiced the groomer lines about the candy, but anyway, I still like Ron.
I do too.
I'm still a fan, I have to say.
Would book again.
Would book again. But to each their own. So Ron eventually got us dropped off at Springer Mountain. And like Katy said, we backtracked to the summit, almost a mile, I guess. It was straight up that mountain, and then we got up there, and they had a logbook for us to sign, and got the Appalachian bronze plaque that you see kind of embedded in a big boulder up there, and we took some pictures and didn't stay too long though.
No, I think we kind of, as usual, were like, oh, the day's half over.
Right.
So I feel like, we didn't loiter too long. And day one, it had that excitement, but it also had a lot of that settling in, feeling that pack on your back. And I don't know, for me, I think there was a lot of the immediate, oh, here we are. Yes, this pack is heavy. What have I done?
Right. Yes.
I remember being day one being tough in that aspect of oof.
Yes. I have here a hard day for me.
Yeah.
I felt like I was coming to terms with how long I was going to be gone, which was difficult for me. Miss my kids and such. And I was also trying to come to grips with how heavy my pack was, which was very heavy.
My pack was heavy, and I also, as we were walking, this is when I kind of realized that Ron had gotten to my head a little bit with just the overload of information that he gave us and how hard he drilled us about our agenda. I realized as we kept walking that day that for some reason that kind of got to me and gave me a little bit of anxiety that I didn't have suddenly about what our plan was.
Totally got into my head too, I'm going to be honest. And it's not really Ron's fault, but...
Yeah, no, I'm not blaming him. That was definitely all me, but oof.
Right. I think he had given us so much information and really warned us about some sections that I got freaked out about them. And then he said oh, day one will be really easy. Well, I didn't find day one to be easy. And maybe that was just because I was feeling sad and missing my kids and my pack was heavy. But day one was very difficult for me. I didn't think it was that easy of a hike. So it kind of threw me off too, because I thought, oh, maybe this will be an easier day. That'd be nice, for day one. And it wasn't, at least for me. No. So that kind of messed with me. And then a couple places where he had really warned us, oh, this is going to be terrible. This is going to be terrible. And then we kind of got and passed over these sections, and one of them without even realize, like, oh, we just did it.
I know.
We're
I remember
done.
being like, was that
sassafras? Yeah. So I think that was a big lesson for me, and this whole trip was just not to take anyone's advice. Not to not take it, but not take it to heart about how I should feel about it.
Right.
You know, what might be really hard for one is maybe not for me, but vice versa. And so that was a little bit of a mind fudge.
It was, and I don't know, maybe it was just, I feel like day one is always going to be difficult, no matter what. Like, it's going to be, you're starting with your pack pretty much at your heaviest most of the time.
Mm-hmm.
And you're just settling in. There's a lot that's going through your mind. I had, like, a few little journal entries from this trip, and I think the one for this day just said, tough day trying to settle in, physically challenging, and kind of questioning our decision.
Yep, that sounds about right. And that was
kind of a good sum of it. You know, it's a hard adjustment to go from sitting in the car for like 10 hours, driving out there, and then, you know, driving 2 hours or however long to get to the trail, and then suddenly you're just out there and it's time to walk, and
right.
It's an adjustment.
It's a lot of build up. I mean, for weeks, honestly, build up to this moment, and it's hard.
But on this day, we did have lunch at Long Creek Falls.
Yes, we did.
Which was absolutely beautiful. So that was a highlight.
Yeah, it was kind of just a small, I think, side trail. We didn't have to go down it far, but it was truly a beautiful little waterfall. I wanted to mention that the first 2 or 3 days, there's a lot of creeks. You know, the first like 20, 30 miles, it seems like we had a fair amount of water sources. And then the last half, it was not that way as much. Like, we really had to plan on water and find our sources ahead of time. Because I remember by the end of the trip thinking, oh, I wish I got into one of those creeks, you know, or like, I don't know, splash some more water on my face when I had the chance, because we didn't really have as much of an opportunity for that when we got further up, closer to North Carolina.
Like smaller sources and kind of farther off trail.
Yes. So like Katie said, we had lunch at these beautiful little waterfall spot. And then that night, I believe we camped at Hawk Mountain Shelter. It was my first experience at a trail shelter. They had some really nice bear boxes that were easy and handy to use. It was a very busy shelter. I think it probably stays pretty busy. I can only imagine, like, when through hike season comes and there's like thousands of people starting in Georgia, how busy that shelter probably gets sometimes. But you can kind of tell that because the ground's pretty beat down around it, you know. Yeah. In general, the trail is easy to follow because there's been so many people go down it. So I
know that was kind of a different aspect going from some of these trails here in the Ozarks to that. I was like, oh man,
really had no problem navigating them. Yeah. So that was nice.
That was a huge plus for me.
So Hawk Mountain Shelter had a lovely little stream kind of behind it. I don't know, a few hundred yards, I suppose. And like I said, it was busy. We had a good night there. I think I was pretty emotionally zapped, and I fixed a couscous meal that I have never fixed again. It was fine. I'm just not a big fan of it. It was like a curried couscous, and so that was the end of that curried couscous meal, was that night. I also burned my finger pretty good that night on my stove, so that was something I had to deal with for the rest of the trip, and not my proudest, finest, happiest moment.
That.
Yeah.
That was frustrating.
It was. I also wanted just to throw out there, you know, there's shelters on all kinds of trails all over, but I think this is kind of a common theme, is that trail shelters are full of critters and mice and all sorts of good things, which is why we basically just decided to camp in our tent every night and just forego the shelters altogether. Lots of people do use them, but just so you know, they probably got mice in them. Yeah.
Well, and for me, like, if privacy is a factor also, like, you're not, you know, having as much privacy when you're in the shelter as you have with your little tent walls. So.
It's so true. It's so true. And sometimes they can be busy. You know, if I was on my own, I might feel differently, but I'm not really much of one to have rodents climbing on me if I can help it. So probably stay out of the shelter. I did want to mention, too, that, you know, we avoided some shelters just because of how long, like, the like shoot off trail to the shelter would be, or that it would be like, oh yeah, it's only half a mile, but it's like 500 feet down a holler,
right.
you know, so we would kind of like avoided a couple of the shelters just because of they're a little bit harder to get to and whatnot. Our energy, it was at a premium and we had to conserve.
Yeah. Yeah, I didn't have much else on day one. I do know that it got pretty chilly that night, so I think this is when I became obsessed with shiny emergency blankets, because I definitely busted them out.
Yeah.
That first night.
It was chilly.
And so the first day from Springer to Hawk Mountain is 8.1 miles, and then the extra little 0.9
right.
for going up to Springer. So not a lot of miles, but boy, it was tough.
No, but I mean, we didn't have very high miles any of the days, and
I think when we were planning ahead, we did try to look at like averaging around 10 miles a day, knowing that we wouldn't always do that, but with the time we have, I think that's what we try to keep in our mind, if I remember right.
We couldn't have done a whole lot more than that unless we had just got up really early and not like cooked or anything, you know?
Yeah.
But anyway, I did want to say our first day, we crossed the Benton McKay Trail a few times, which Benton McKay is considered like the father of the Appalachian Trail. And I don't know how long the Benton McKay Trail is.
There's a fair amount of it.
It's just kind of interesting. Some of the Benton McKay Trail is actually more the original path of the Appalachian Trail. So Ron also told us some of the trees in that section are old forest. I've tried finding out any information about that because we did see some monster trees on those first couple days, like huge trees.
Gorgeous.
I couldn't find out a whole lot of info, but whether they're, you know, old forest or not, some beautiful trees out in that forest.
There were. I've got some good tree pictures.
Yes. So this entire time while we're doing the miles in Georgia, we're in the Chattahoochee National Forest. And then when we move into North Carolina, it changes. But this is all within the Chattahoochee, although we do enter different wilderness areas within the National Forest. But I'll kind of touch on some of those as we go.
Day one done.
We had a pretty good evening, I think.
Sam had to deal with me crinkling in my little wrapper. Because we did share a tent for this trip as well.
We did, which was fine. I think this trip kind of taught us that we probably need two.
Yeah.
But we did okay. I think the only real problem with it was that we just got so gross and sweaty, and that like with both of us in the tent, there was just really no chance of anything ever drying out, including our bodies. But
anyway. Our gross bodies.
Day 2, we got packed up, got on the trail. Now this section through Georgia, like through Cooper's Gap, right in that area, there's actually an Army Ranger training facility in that area, and we had been warned that we might hear like sounds of artillery, and that, you know, Ron teased us that they might laser us in with their sights while we're out, like with
right. So that made peeing fun for the rest of the trip. Thank you.
Yeah. I think it's only like this one small section, but yeah. Did we hear any noises? Maybe some. Nothing crazy, though.
Nothing that stands out in my mind as far as, nothing distracting enough to really stay in my brain.
No, and we didn't see any lasers or anything pointing in our direction at any point. I noted at Cooper's Gap there was a Army supply water tank that hikers are free to get water out of. I'm sure it probably doesn't taste the best, but it is clean.
Yeah.
Which is kind of nice. So it's kind of this strange community out there of like Army Ranger, hiker.
Yeah.
You know, lots of dirt bikers, and it's kind of an interesting mix. So we started our day. We reached Sassafras Mountain and climbed it, which we had been warned about how terrible Sassafras was, and I didn't realize we'd actually had just climbed it. I thought it was still up ahead, so that was kind of a highlight for me.
Me too, because we had kind of like, that's what I mean by him getting in my head a little bit, is it's like, then everything he said he was going to be really hard, I was just dreading.
Yeah.
But for this one, it kind of worked in our favor because I was just anticipating it being so terrible.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I remember us being like, was that even what he was talking about?
We just did it.
Yeah.
I know. So that was nice, though. It's kind of a little morale boost for me.
It was.
Although, I'll be honest, I was still trying to come to grips with my sanity out there. It was a bit of an emotional journey for me. I had a lot of stuff going on at home, and I knew it was going to be. I think I'd warned Katie even a couple weeks before we left. Like, I feel like I'm going to be processing things in real time out there, and I was.
Yeah.
But I don't know if it's a good thing or a bad thing, but it is what it was what it was.
Yeah, I feel like I was the opposite in a way. I anticipated being really emotional on this trip because right before I went, I ended up losing my cat in just like a very quick, traumatic way.
Tragic.
And
the best cat too.
Seriously, like, he wasn't a cat, he was a reincarnated soul, and I'm not going to go into that because I would just go on and on, but it was rough. It was so sad, and I was just really devastated. So I did kind of anticipate that once I got on trail and just had all of this space to think about that I would really struggle with it, because at home, it just kept replaying and replaying in my brain. But once I got on trail, it was almost like I disassociated from it or something, because I just felt like for a lot of this hike, like my mind was just a blank slate.
Yeah, well, that's not a bad thing.
And so that was kind of unexpected. I really expected to struggle a little more with that, but it's almost like it set itself aside and was like, not here.
Yeah.
Because I did get sad about it again when I got home, but it's like it just sort of compartmentalized itself for later, which I don't know if that's good or bad, but that's kind of what it ended up being for me.
Yeah.
So day 2, we started at Hawk Mountain Shelter, and I think we kind of planned to try to get to Ramrock Mountain. We didn't make it all the way, which was totally fine because we camped a little bit before.
Kind of on the side, maybe?
Yeah, like sort of at this like plateau before the last little push up to Ramrock is the way that I remember it. And that spot was just absolutely beautiful. It had this scenic overlook. It was unoccupied, so it was sort of like, well, we gotta take this campsite.
Right. There was no shelter or privy or anything. It was just like a bare campsite, and no one was there, and it was probably one of my very favorite campsites ever.
It was mine too. I had written down that it was the prettiest camp spot of the trip.
Just incredible views. That was our first experience trying to hang a bear bag, so that was comical.
Oh yes, I have that on here. So I did have a journal entry for this day, and it just said, slept later than we thought we would, chilly night, loved terrain between Cooper's Gap and Justice Creek Road, and a little after, absolutely beautiful. Challenging, but enjoyed today much more than yesterday. Love our campsite. Hanging beer bags is tough in all caps. We have so much food.
It was hard. Hanging bear bags is hard. Surprised I didn't like whack myself in the face with a rock.
It was a lot. I'm glad we had no like audience for that.
Yeah. Thank goodness. I was trying to think of what we had for dinner that night, and I feel like we stopped at Justice Creek and had hot ramen that you made us.
Okay.
So I think maybe we just had like a lunch item since we'd had our dinner during the day.
And I do like doing that sometimes.
Me too. Maybe not every time, but sometimes. And then that evening we didn't really have to worry about cooking or really cleaning dishes or anything.
Which is nice when you are hiking in an area where you have to consider bears. That was a new experience for me on this trip, was just sort of trying to plan the evening around having to put all of your food and everything back in those bags and hang it or put it in the boxes or whatever.
Toiletries, everything.
Yeah. So sometimes, having to deal with that makes it a little less appealing to have to do your big meal at night and have to clean all that up. But
so that is a good point. It's very true. And bears are a real possibility out there, especially certain times of the year. Certain times of the year and certain sections, you have to bring a bear can. It's the law. And luckily, we were outside of that kind of time frame. But it's the reality. So we felt like we needed to respect guidelines and do our best. But it wasn't my favorite thing. It was putting all my stuff up every night.
Yeah, I mean, you do. Some of those items are such comfort items, you know? It's like, you just want them with you.
Right, exactly.
So,
well, we probably did about 11 miles on day 2.
Yeah, I didn't write down, I only wrote down that it was basically like mile 8.1 to mile 18.6. So.
Okay. So that was probably my favorite campsite, although we had some other good ones too, but that one was just special, and it was just the 2 of us, and it just felt like after our maybe a rough first day, it was a really nice second camp.
It was nice to have that space, you know, not that I hated the people we ran into or anything. This was definitely something I had written down, that this was really our first taste of trail community. And I loved that, but it was kind of nice to sort of nurse the wounds of a really tough first day and that adjustment with just like this beautiful campsite all to ourselves.
Right. It was a little medicine. I think we needed it, and it kind of worked out. So, you know, we got to stay here on the side of Ramrock Mountain and wake up to just the most gorgeous sunrise and have coffee on like this big rock kind of overlooking this incredibly scenic view. And it was just gorgeous. A special spot.
No better way to drink coffee, let me tell you.
Agreed.
It's amazing.
So once we did make ourselves depart our beloved campsite, you know, of course we kept heading north, and we ended up at Woody Gap. I don't know, maybe a couple hours of hiking after we left camp, something like that. I think it was still morning. They had some sort of really fun event going on up there. Was it bikes?
Like a race, like a bike race.
So they had a whole big event going on with foods and just all sorts of fun stuff going on. And they were really nice, and they didn't mind a bit that we used their porta potties. We did ask first, but that was kind of a highlight. Crazy enough, but it was like a real porta potty, and it was clean. So I also really liked that little pit stop there because I got to throw away my trash, including that terrible couscous that I was so ready to get rid of and out of my pack. So that was kind of a highlight too. It was just getting to throw away my trash that I had accumulated thus far.
Yeah. So at Woody Gap is where I finally got to throw away my banana peel also that I'd been carrying this entire time.
I started seeing a lot of people on the trail that day. I think there's a lot of day hikers and whatnot in that area.
Yeah. It was surprisingly wonderful to use a porta potty too at that event.
It was.
But also they just had like music going and people were dancing and cheering on the bikers as they came through. So I feel like that was kind of a good morale boost all around, like using a porta potty and real toilet paper, throwing away trash, having music, people being excited. And this is the day that we met the guy that we gave the trail name Caboose. And the first interaction was just him coming up and asking if I would take his picture.
Yes.
Because there was kind of a pretty, like, overlook there, too. And kind of a pretty view, so.
I think he started there.
I think he did.
Yeah.
And I feel like meeting him sort of established this thing that you encounter on trail of, like, leapfrogging, where they'll be behind you for a while, and then maybe you stop to filter water, and all of a sudden they're in front of you. And that just continues, like, throughout the day. So that was kind of fun. Like, that was the first experience with really, like, meeting people on trail, connecting with them, and, like, continuing to interact with them over a longer, span of time.
Several days.
Which is really fun.
It was fun. We also, I'm not exactly sure at what point we crossed his path, but of course we got to know him a little bit better that evening, but we met a new friend, trail name Turkey Vulture. Do you remember his real name?
I want to say Michael.
It was Michael.
Right?
We talked about this because of Michael. Yeah. Like, it's a little bit in devotion to old Turkey Vulture.
We have talked about him a lot since this. He really made an impact because he had just the most beautiful, gentle, like almost innocent energy. Like, he truly was a joy to meet and to be around.
He was.
And I still wonder all the time, like, where he is, what he's doing, how far he got.
Yeah, he had kind of an interesting story. He was pretty new to backpacking and started out with like 100-pound pack or something ridiculous. And I think some folks had given him a shakedown and helped him out, but he was still learning a lot.
Yeah.
Being out there, learning as he went.
And he had watched the movie Wild and got so inspired that it was really kind of beautiful because he was talking about how just like in her story, she just, would do what he's like, even if you could only do a mile one day, just keep at it. And that's kind of was his mentality about it.
Yeah, he was an interesting character. Very gentle soul. He was called Turkey Vulture because, well, he's vegan and really, I think, believed in doing no harm.
Yes.
At all to any being, So that was just kind of his temperament as well. He's just a really gentle, special person.
Yeah. I really enjoyed meeting him.
So I guess he was Turkey Vulture because, vultures really don't harm anything and all they do is clean up other messes and they're vital to our ecosystem. So kind of an interesting name, but it kind of really suits him when you stop and think about it.
It did. It suited him. I can't see a turkey vulture now without thinking of him.
I know.
And there's a lot of turkey vultures here.
So we made some new friends on this day 3. Like I said, I saw several backpackers. We climbed up Big Cedar Mountain and took some photos up on a glade top up there. There was lots of people up there. I noted that we were already clammy. We were already sweaty and gross at this point.
It didn't take long.
No. We entered the Blood Mountain Wilderness area and we stopped at Slaughter Creek. And I believe that we, of course, got water to filter and we ate a tortilla soup there at Slaughter Creek and maybe a Starbucks drink and then kind of gathered our stuff and moved on up on top of Blood Mountain to camp. I guess Slaughter Creek's kind of on the side of Blood Mountain. And then so we continued on a couple miles to the shelter and to our camp spot.
And Blood Mountain, Turkey Vulture was also camping there. So we sort of connected and really talked for the first time when we were all sort of trying to figure out how and where to hang our bear bags.
Yeah, he tried to help us.
I remember he just kind of laid out on the rock that night because he wanted to stargaze, and I thought that was kind of cool. I did have it noted that Blood Mountain camping there was not my favorite.
No.
I didn't enjoy that area. The shelter just had more trash in it.
Someone had pooped in it. Let's be real.
Yeah. There was a lot of, I feel poop and just more human.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
There was no privy up there either.
Yeah, and that's probably why.
Yeah.
I think people just get tired of going off, but please continue to follow the Leave No Trace.
Yeah.
It was unpleasant, and it's sad because it was really beautiful. The views, some of my best pictures are probably from our first morning camping and from the top of Blood Mountain. It was gorgeous, especially in the morning. So it was kind of frustrating to deal with just a little more trash, and I just felt uncomfortable. That kind of grimy gas station bathroom type vibes.
Yeah, it was a beautiful view up there. There was something about it because I literally have strange vibes up there.
Yeah.
Something about it was a little weird, and maybe I think some of these hilltops were thought sacred by Native people and things once upon a time. And I don't know. I just think sometimes you just have to tread lightly.
Yeah.
Maybe there's more there that we don't understand or see or know about. I've tried to do some research and there's not a lot of why these places are named so violently, and there's some different opinions. Yeah, it's Blood Mountain, Slaughter Creek.
Yeah.
There's reasons. Maybe they're not all super well documented, so I'm not going to cite them, but there are reasons that these mountains have such violent sounding names, there's Indian Grape Gap. There's several along this whole stretch.
That's true.
So I don't know. I think that there's maybe something a little bit bigger than what we can see up there, but who knows, most of y'all probably would think I was crazy.
No, yeah, there was just a feeling there. It was not my favorite place to camp, but there was good stargazing and there was a beautiful sunrise, so.
It was beautiful.
can't really knock that. But
No, it's incredible. I would love to go up there, but it's something about it, just different.
Yeah.
There's a lot of bears, I think, up there, too, so maybe that was partly on my mind, too. Like,
and we had a harder time finding, like, a suitable place to hang the bear bags, so I do think there was a little bit more nervousness about that. Mm-hmm. We did our best, but...
It's just kind of different, but it is gorgeous. So we stayed the night there. I don't remember sleeping terribly there. I remember that the sunrise up over the glades were incredible. It was beautiful.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I did love that part of it.
I found it to be a really difficult descent off of Blood Mountain, like boulders everywhere.
I feel like that was one area where Ron had kind of warned us ahead of time, too, about paying attention to the blazes, because it's sort of one of those areas where they have to put them on the rocks sometimes.
Right.
But also, wasn't there sort of another side trail? It seemed like there were a lot of side
There's
trails.
a lot of side trails, like a whole bunch. Yeah. Yeah, I think there were several trails running through there, but maybe because it is an actual wilderness area, maybe they can't post as much signage also. Yeah. So that was a place that Ron's warning was correct, and that it was a little hard to navigate. Not terribly, but
yeah,
it was very difficult terrain coming down off of that mountain.
I'm trying to remember if that was the day where we got kind of irritated at those guys that were coming up.
Yes.
And they just had to make their cracks.
Yeah, they did. Uh-huh. Yep.
Not helpful, thank you.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I fell on that section. I was fine. Yeah. That was my second trip. But no big deal.
Yeah, that was rough coming down from there.
It was hard. It was a hard one.
A lot of rocks, a lot of slippery.
But once we got down off of Blood Mountain, we kind of hit that 30-mile mark, I guess, or right about that point, and reached Neal Gap, where the Wallacea Center is located.
Or also called Mountain Crossing sometimes. I'm still a little bit confused by what's what.
Yeah, me too.
But I kind of like the sound of Wallacea better.
Mm-hmm. It's like a native term for like the king frog or something, because one of the mountains looked like a frog or something. It's kind of interesting, though.
I love that. And we stopped for sandwiches, which tasted so good.
Yeah, this spot's kind of famous for being kind of a bail point if you start the Appalachian Trail and realize you don't want to do it. It's also the resupply point for folks that want to either buy things or mail themselves a package. They have lots and lots of gear there. It's pretty pricey, but they've got lots of stuff.
Yeah, they're kind of famous for doing their shakedowns on people's gear.
Yeah. When you walk upon the place, it's got what they call the Tree of Souls outside, and it's just like filled with old hiking boots. You know, kind of the legend goes that people would have the wrong boots and just toss them into the tree there, I guess, and buy new ones. I don't know, but it's kind of neat.
Yeah. I did read into this a little bit just because I got kind of curious. So I was reading about, like, the Tree of Souls and Neal's Gap. I think what I was trying to look for was what the percentages of hikers that drop out at this point.
Yeah.
Because I know it's supposed to be pretty large. Like, you do get a good taste of the PUDs and everything in that first 30 miles. So a lot of people do drop out here. But looking into that, I couldn't find a solid number, so I'm not going to throw one out. But the tree did, of course, come up. And so I kind of was reading about this in the different, like, some people say it's that they realize they don't have the right shoes, so they buy new ones and they throw them up there. Others have claimed that it's hikers who finish the trail and send the shoes back or come back, which is kind of cool. But then when I was reading further, there was some information by a person that used to work there, and he basically said that that's not the case, that the shoes just literally started showing up, and that some aren't even hikers' shoes at all, that even people passing by, like, by car will stop and throw shoes up there. He said he's found high heels up there.
Oh, gosh.
And he also said that, like, they end up throwing a couple hundred away per year because it's so humid there that they end up mulling and falling down. And so I thought it was kind of funny in some ways. I'm like, dude, don't shatter the legend. Yeah. But it was kind of interesting to read that and think about even, like, I still think it's kind of a a cool feature.
It
is.
is.
Like, even if people are driving by and seeing it and being like, oh shit, let's throw some shoes
right.
in the tree. Like,
it's a landmark, really.
It is a landmark. Like, people look for that tree. So, and I remember us standing under there for quite a while being like, dang, that's a nice pair of shoes.
I know.
There's some nice shoes
there are
there.
some nice boots and whatnot. It's kind of a special spot there.
I kind of had fun reading about that, and I don't know, I just got a little bit tickled by this guy that's like, let me just shatter this for you and be super, like, a straightforward
break
about
your heart.
it.
Yeah.
I don't know, I thought it was interesting. What a fun place that would be to work.
It would be fun. It would be fun. I would love to go back there. We did get sandwiches. I think they had pizzas and things frozen pizzas you could buy and they would bake for you. But we just got some sandwiches and maybe some treats and some stickers for sure. I think we were growing even more aware of how much we stunk at this point because we could smell other people's laundry detergent.
Yes, I forgot about
so
that.
we were like, oh boy, if we can smell their laundry detergent, we know they can smell us.
Or anyone who was wearing cologne, it just seemed like amplified.
Yes.
By 100 million.
It really did. So I'm sure we were getting pretty gross by that point, but you know, it's just kind of, that place is just kind of filled with backpackers and hikers. So everybody kind of stinks together.
Well, we ended up sitting down and having lunch with Turkey Vulture. And then not too long after we sort of sat down and were eating with him, Caboose showed up.
Yep.
I don't know. Should we share real names?
I think I already did. Sorry, Mark.
Mark/Caboose showed up. And then we also sort of caught up with the rest of his group and met some of them. So it was really nice to sit and eat lunch.
It was fun.
I do have to say for and about Turkey Vulture.
I was wondering if you wanted to tell this story.
I'm going to because it was so funny to me. And it's not to make fun of him. Honestly, what I kind of want to bring up is that it is very difficult for vegans who don't prepare their own meals to find, like, decent backpacking meals. And as we mentioned, he was still kind of adjusting. So part of it was that he didn't even have a stove at that point. And I do think he was, at that point, doing some serious considering of getting a stove or whatever.
That's what he was kind of looking for at that point.
Yeah. So he, at lunchtime when we were sitting there, he had, like, protein powder mixed with, was it peanut butter?
I think so.
Just, like, out of a bag, just in a big glob, and he kind of told us what it was because he just didn't have a whole lot of options as a vegan. And I just remember sitting across from him watching him eat that.
Was he like eating it on some sort of like vegan tortilla or something maybe?
I can't remember, but all I remember is like watching him take a big bite, and it's like I could picture it just based off of like the face that he made, that it had to be so dry and just like chunking in his mouth, and like he just had to chew really hard, and it was one of those big exaggerated swallows, and he just kind of grimaced a little bit.
Like he was trying not to gag just a little. Bless him.
And I was trying so hard not to laugh because, you know, and it wasn't really at him. I just really felt bad that he was having to eat that.
Yeah.
I'm like, I really hope that he got a stove after that and found some decent meals because bless his heart.
Nothing but love for Turkey Vulture. We might have had a giggle at him, but really he was just a really gentle, kind soul.
He was. And this also, another of my favorite moments with him happened when we were eating lunch because when I was eating my sandwich, like a hornet or something landed on my finger.
Yellow jacket or something.
A yellow jacket. And so I was just sitting there like trying not to move, you know, and just letting it crawl over my finger because I didn't want to get stung. And he was watching and he just goes, "Aw." And it was so sweet.
So sweet.
I just feel like that's a good, you know, like example of just how precious he was.
I just wonder so much about him. Like, where has he been his whole life that he's so gentle and kind? And this stop here was the last time we saw Turkey Vulture.
Yeah.
And I think he might have been trying to get a ride into town to buy a stove in town. I'm not really sure what happened to him.
I kept hoping to see him again, but I think I do think he was talking about going into town because maybe he didn't have as much to spend as what was available.
Yeah.
there.
They were really high there, too.
Yeah.
So that was the last time that we saw him. Sadly, we missed him, and we talk about him all the time.
I know. I really wish we had found a way to connect with him after that. But
so if anyone out there is listening to this, especially in like the Virginia area, he was going to Virginia, and I think he was going to stay there a while. If anyone ever happens to listen to this and know Turkey Vulture, please send us a message, send him a message, tell him that we miss him. You know, we would love to get to know him that much more. Probably will never happen, but you never know.
That would be so cool.
Mm-hmm.
The other thing that stands out that was really a highlight of this area was one of the guys that worked there. We just had a really nice conversation with him, and he was the one that complimented the fit of our packs, which was such a mood booster for me because, as we've mentioned before, we don't necessarily have easy access to go have packs fitted, and so we did a lot of research, and it was very validating to have someone go out of their way to say that our packs fit really well.
Yes, I agree. He was really nice. I really liked him. We stopped in there and chatted with them for a while, and so they were pretty, I think, interested in our Ozarks here, too. And one of them had maybe hiked and floated through here some, but
it was really nice.
So anyway, it was a really fun lunch stop. It was kind of hard to leave. We all chatted, kind of shared itineraries a bit.
Yeah. So I honestly forgot until just this moment that at this point the authorities were still looking for Brian Laundrie.
Yes.
100% forgot about this. That while we were there, they brought in all these, was it National Guard or Army?
I think they were the Rangers because they're right out there.
And some of them were pretty young, but they were basically unloading them to go look for him because there was kind of that rumor going around that he might be hiding.
That he was out there.
And so that was interesting.
We left Neil Gap here at this little spot, and they were going into the trail, up the trail in front of us, you know.
Let me tell you, that was some big energy too. They were stoked.
They were.
To be a part
Bless
of this
them.
manhunt.
They really did. They were wanting to make their mamas proud out there.
Yes.
They were young. They were cute. But that was an interesting spin on thing because we felt like, first of all, this Brian guy might be out there, and they had kind of warned us that, you know, we're probably not in danger, but to watch your food because he's probably hungry. So if you're hanging your food out, you might find it gone in the morning, you know. So I wasn't that worried about finding him, which turns out he wasn't there anyway. But it kind of made an interesting spin on things, too. And I also just felt like these ranger guys were going to be, camped out everywhere and,
we never saw them again, which that combined with Ron's earlier thing of, how we might be getting scoped or whatever.
Right.
The whole time, I feel like this entire trip, I just couldn't pee without feeling like someone out there might be watching
There was a
me.
soldier watching you somewhere. No, we never saw them again. So I don't know. I kind of got the impression that they were trying to camp out in the woods overnight, but we don't know.
Never saw them again.
No.
But it happened.
They probably saw us.
That's what I was thinking about
I know.
for the next 4 days.
I know.
I do remember how hard it was to get going again after this lunch stop, though.
It was so hard.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, I also remember that Mark brought banana bread.
Yes. So Mark was also really fun and a really interesting dude. Some things about him that stand out are that he did not filter any water for the entire trip. He was just just gonna drink whatever's available, and kudos to him. But damn, I was just okay, well,
right.
And he also was the one that just straight up brought banana bread, apples, booze,
liquor bottles,
So
all the things that nobody else brings, he brought them. Those are some good things to remember about Mark. Probably my favorite thing about thinking back about Mark is listening to his loud ass laugh. From a mile away, you could hear him. He was just fun. Really pretty good vibe to be around. He would also send us messages on the trail, from people coming the other way. Yeah. He would be several miles ahead of us and would these guys would stop us and be like, "Are you girls from Missouri?"
Oh, we're
He's like, "'Cause Mark they all knew Mark. They're like, Mark up there says there's a couple of Missouri girls coming through, and he wanted me to tell you guys to hurry up or something." So good trail vibes. And it made me realize the type of trail person I want to be too, in a way.
Yeah, because he just, he did not, the reason we ended up calling him Caboose was because one of his other trail names was Caboose because he's kind of he takes his time. He goes to every scenic overlook, so he's always kind of bringing up the rear. and we just altered it to caboose because he also was the dude that brought the booze. So.
He did. He goes to every scenic overlook. He kind of broke the mold on like what you'd think a backpacker does or carries or what all these things, and it just made everybody else's trip really fun. So
it did. I appreciated his no shits given attitude because I just feel like you do sometimes run into people who really feel so strongly about things that don't really matter, you know, because Mark brought whatever the hell he wanted.
Right.
And he had a fantastic time. Like,
he did.
Maybe a better time than most of the other people. Trail community. That was a huge feature of this.
It really was. And I wanted to touch on that. The people are just overall really awesome and of all ages and abilities. And we just met some of the coolest people.
Yeah.
I will say that I felt like we got mansplained a couple times. I'll just be honest. Nothing too serious. But some people like to give their opinion, and sometimes you just don't need it. But that's okay. Bless them.
That's okay.
I think we kind of made it clear that we didn't want it when we didn't want it. So
I feel like it's inevitable that you're going to run into that.
Yeah.
As a woman, it's a reality.
I think so too. All the while, we were managing to like do what no one else thought there was really doing. But we did meet a couple of older gentlemen. I think they were retired math teachers. And they'd both been in the military, and they both like competed in Ironman competitions, and they did not mansplain us. They were really wonderful and supportive and like totally amazed by what we were doing, and
they were amazing.
Kind of like our biggest fans, and we were kind of their biggest fans. So of course didn't get their names or anything, but
they were really cool though.
They made a big impact on me. That day we ran into them, like really big impact on me.
And that's a nice thing about, trail folks too, is I just feel like it works out that when you need that the most, it's there for you.
They show up.
Yes. So we also kept running into some locals. It was an older couple, and their trail names were Granola and Donut. The husband was a donut, and the wife was the granola. And they also just had really good energy. They would just get out and like do these long day hikes of different sections, and there were other ones that I just was kind of blown away by.
Yes, Donut and Granola were amazing, and just looking at them, they don't look like athletes or anything, but they were smoking it out there.
And Granola just had her knees like duct taped up, which I found hilarious. And I'm like, you're amazing. I thought we might kind of keep up with them. We didn't. No. We had no chance.
No. Of course, we had packs and such, heavy packs, but still.
Yeah, they were incredible.
The people might have been my favorite part.
Me too. I did really enjoy that. So and I could be wrong because I already messed up on my notes, but I had the day 4 was Blood Mountain to Hog Pen Gap.
Yes.
Ish.
Yes.
Okay, so good.
We had, for me personally, there was an unexpected difficult section not long before Hog Pen Gap at Wildcat Mountain, and I just want to say I really got my ass kicked on that one. Climbing it, I don't know why. It was just the timing of it. I was tired or something, but
that was another one where it's like no one mentioned that. Like they mentioned sassafras being hard, and then you get to that, and
right. It just that one schooled me pretty hard that day, and that was probably my toughest climb. Just me personally, I don't think it was the steepest or the longest, but just for me personally, that was the toughest climb of my trip.
I felt really strong on that one for some reason. I can't remember why, but I do remember that
it was a climb.
I got this.
Yeah.
I feel like I just had that attitude of like, I'm gonna stick my ass out and just power up. It was steep though.
It was steep. It was a tough one. I don't know what it was. I think I was just about out of juice for the day, and then we had to climb.
It was pretty close to the end, I feel like.
It was, and I didn't know. I didn't know it was coming.
I'm not prepared for you, damn it.
No. That was kind of a weird camp. That I remember getting water at the creek, and it was getting dark, and we ended up camping near the other group at Hog Pen.
Yeah.
I think I made shrimp and rice, tropical rice that night. We did hang our stuff in a tree. I remember that night, too.
Yeah, I didn't care for that water source. It was kind of, I don't know, it was just kind of mucky. It wasn't like much of anything, and it was kind of out of the way, and it did get dark on us this day, so that's kind of a pain sometimes.
It's kind of a tough one.
It just sort of drains you. So my journal entry for this day literally just said long day, kind of tough.
Yeah, it was. I think it was near a road too, and that's kind of, I'm always like,
Yeah.
Not that we heard traffic or anything, but just like, I felt like the water was kind of extra gross.
I do feel like most of the toughness was after Neil's Gap, though, because that was just such a nice, like, unwinding. So I feel like it was just going to be tough after that either way, trying to get back into the groove and be like, all right. That was so pretty much the only place we were going to have to stop also. So it was almost like starting over.
It was. I had us having about a 9.5 mile day on that day, day 4.
I also feel like this is the day I started sort of fretting about like how much time we had and whether or not we were going to be able to do what we set out to do.
I know, which is funny because we were halfway there, you know.
Yeah, I don't know why I got so hung up on that, but... Okay, well, we took an intermission.
Yeah, yes we did, but we're back.
We're back to talk about the rest of our AT journey.
Our amazing AT journey. We hope that we are thoroughly conveying how wonderful a trip it was, because it really, really was.
Sometimes our energy doesn't match the actual excitement that we feel about our topic.
Yeah. Yeah. And we're just trying to get it all in and, you know, make a podcast. And sometimes it just doesn't quite all come together.
But we are excited.
We are.
It was an amazing trip.
It was.
Quick recap. Day 1, we did basically Springer Mountain to Hawk Mountain. Day 2, we did Hawk Mountain Shelter. I already can't talk. Day 2, we did Hawk Mountain Shelter to our perfect, most beautiful tent spot just before Ramrock Mountain. Day 3, we went from our perfect campsite to Blood Mountain. Day 4, we did Blood Mountain to Hog Pen Gap. So that brings us to Day 5.
Day 5, waking up at Hog Pen Gap. Do you remember much about that campsite?
A little. Stat-wise, it's 38.2 miles in, so
okay.
We're in our trip by now. I don't remember much of that morning, except one thing I do remember is that the day before I had bought a stroopwafel at Mountain Crossing, so that was the first time I'd had one of those, and I really liked it.
That was a joy, I think.
Yeah.
For you. I remember that. I remember waking up there. It was kind of in like this big flat area, and just being happy that Brian Landry hadn't stole our food bag out of the tree. Because that was like in my mind. Otherwise, I don't remember much about that site, but...
Oh, I do remember that we were camping with Caboose and the rest of his group. They were all super nice.
Yeah, I think we set up after dark, so we weren't really even there that long.
Yeah. I guess, was that kind of like the first night that we had hiked until dark and kind of set up in dark?
I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah. And kind of that weird creek like we talked about earlier.
Yeah.
It's kind of gross.
It's hard to find, a little bit gross. And I do remember that you somehow spilled like some water.
I did.
In your pack or something.
I did.
An ordeal. Do you remember that?
I do. I think I spilled like my water bladder all up in my back.
Yeah.
So it was a little bit of a gritty stop.
That was one of those moments where I felt emotions for you. I was like, oh no.
All in all, it was, I guess, worked out okay though. So yes, we woke up at Hog Pen Gap that day. You know, we just had the most beautiful weather the entire trip.
Yeah.
I do know that that day we took a little small sidetrack to Low Gap Shelter for lunch. But we got to eat lunch with some of our new friends and kind of explore this little shelter area and just visit about who we were and where we come from and all these types of things. And it was really fun. It
was. And Caboose shared an apple, which tasted really amazing on trail.
It was a Granny Smith. I'll never forget that beautiful green apple. So that was a fun little side jaunt for the day. I think there was some water maybe at that shelter too, so perhaps we collected water there. I'm not quite sure.
I remember that one being kind of a nice water source. Like there was actually like a little pipe or something, or like a little stream that was spurting out, so it was really easy to capture.
Yeah.
It's weird, the random things that stand out in your mind.
It does. Something else I remember about this day was that we got really, really super giggly. I think we must have been losing our minds there for just a little bit. I think maybe that's when we got Team Giggles as a moniker. Yeah. I also had an emotional breakdown that day. I remember that. I have fun, exclamation point in my notes. And then I basically ran across the mountain for a while. But it all worked out.
My journal from that day just said lots of miles today. I do feel like we cruised along pretty good. Mm-hmm. Lunch was really a high point, but on the end, like towards the end of the day, I was really on edge, I remember. And I think part of it was just that I knew that you were having a rough time that day, and there was kind of a separation between us because when you get going, like, my legs are just way, way too short.
I did decide to run almost that day.
So that, like, the second part of the day was kind of, like, just a little more isolated and, like, really rushing. And I remember a couple of times where I had to kind of stop and be like, we'll catch up to each other. It's okay, because I found myself trying to, like, run through some rocks and just not really feeling comfortable with it. So I finally was like, okay, calm down. Yeah. Like, do not fall and break your leg, Katie.
I think I eventually also got to that point. I'm sorry.
So that, like, the second half of the day, it was a little on edge, but like Sam said, it was kind of funny, like, how fast we were able to get moving.
I know. Like, I didn't know I had it in me, but...
Yeah. So we cruised through that second part, and then, like, the last part of the day was kind of going up Blue Mountain, and I kind of liked the water source for Blue Mountain. It was a little bit like before you actually get to where you turn off to go to the shelter. Mm-hmm. But I remember just feeling like so relieved when we finally got there.
Yes.
And I actually like switched out my shoes and like ran down the trail to get water. And for some reason it felt so good just to like have my boots off, have no pack, like just my water stuff, and just kind of run downhill.
Yes.
I don't know why that felt like really
I don't know
to me in that moment.
Walking without your pack when you've had your pack on, it feels like the freest thing in the world somehow. So I totally understand. I remember that being a pretty busy campground.
I think that was probably the busiest one that we had along the way that I remember.
Yeah.
New faces.
There were some new faces, kind of some neat groups here and there, but there just wasn't, you know, if we'd gotten there much later, we might not have got a good tent spot because it was pretty crowded.
Yeah.
I also remember that they had bear cables there, and that was my first experience using a bear cable, and how nice and handy that seemed as opposed to hanging my own.
Yeah. I also remember that when we rolled into this spot, it's where you already had your trail name and you had told it to Caboose and Sloan. But I do remember when we rolled into this campsite, that's when I got my trail name. Because as we were coming in, I remember he was like, Waterfall, Alaska.
Yes.
Because at lunchtime I had kind of talked about like growing up in Alaska. And I feel like we mainly talked about fish for some reason.
That sounds about right.
So when I got to camp that night, that was the trail name that they gave me.
Which works.
Was an exciting moment.
It is. It is. I think Katie fixed biscuits, like baked biscuits in her cook stove, and made us gravy, and it was kind of going to be a mystery if it was going to turn out any good or not, but they were amazing and much needed comfort food that night, I think.
That was like the perfect comforting meal after that. That was a long day. I had written down that it was mile 38.2 to mile 50.1.
Yeah.
Something to think about as a side note when you're planning a trip and you're looking at mileage, just know that your daily mileage is going to be higher, because I think when we, at the end of it, factored in how many extra miles we had done, like walking to shelters or walking to water sources, like, it's always a little bit more.
Yeah.
But...
yeah, I had it as a 12-mile day, too. So that was one of our longest days, hiking. And that afternoon was definitely a low point for me, but at the same time, it wasn't a bad day. It's just one of those days, you know?
It was a day.
It was a day. It was kind of tough, but...
we got there.
We did. And it ended up being a pretty nice evening, if I remember correctly. We kind of joined the others and sat around a campfire.
Yeah.
And lovely Caboose was so nice to share his booze with us.
Which really has a medicinal quality on trail that I feel like it doesn't in other scenarios.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And we just sat around and visited and talked gear, and I was offered the opportunity to, like, you know, poke the fire. There was like a fire going in the fire ring, and then I kind of got my fire poking privileges quickly revoked.
I know. Sam, you were going to smother that giant bed of coals.
I know. Like, no, you're going to let it die. Don't put anything on it. But nonetheless.
This was also where there was a privy that someone had written like a review of the privy, which is pretty funny. And didn't you also encounter a privy mouse here?
I think that was on Trey Mountain.
Oh, okay. I couldn't remember.
Yeah. I don't remember the privy at Blue Mountain, but I do remember sitting around and having a good time and sleeping pretty well. That's also when we met that father and daughter.
Yeah.
There was a really, you know, just sweet father and daughter duo that I think she goes to one of those schools that goes year round. So she gets like long breaks throughout the year. So they took this fall break of hers opportunity of father and daughter trip to do. I can't remember what section exactly they were doing, but I just thought that was really nice. And they were nice people.
They were super nice.
Mm-hmm. And it was just kind of lovely to see father-daughter.
I like seeing family units out there.
Me too. And she was so sweet, you know, and just like a really good teenager and happy to be out there with her dad, and just kind of gives you hope for folks out there a little bit. At least it does for me. Maybe I'm just scared of having teenagers, so it's nice to see other ones being so wonderful and happy to be spending time with their parents. Anyway.
Yeah, I get that.
I also have on, for my final thought on day 5, that my clothes were just not drying out at all by this point.
Yeah.
They were just sopped and not drying out.
That was a continuing theme.
Mm-hmm. That probably started earlier, but it was definitely real gross by this point. Do you remember anything else about day 5?
Not really. I think that's about it. It was kind of a blur.
Yeah.
After lunch, I feel like. But it was nice to have time to just unwind in the evening.
I also feel like that afternoon, like, well, starting with the Giggles, even, like, I just was starting to get pretty drained.
Yeah.
Somewhere right in there, I think, too.
It was setting in.
Physical and emotional, so.
This is probably about the point where you get to where you're just not taking in enough calories.
Yeah, also. It's hard to.
And you start to feel that. You don't feel it so much on, you know, like a couple days or 3 days or whatever, but.
Right. We were burning through them. So that brings us to day 6.
Blue Mountain. So on day 6, my only journal entry just said, slow morning, just kind of chilled and took our time, left a little after 10.
Yeah.
Lower miles, but really long day, hotter than it has been, and just felt challenging and tiring.
Yeah.
That's about all I had to say back then.
Yeah. I don't have a lot on that day. I remember that was the day we crossed Indian Grave Gap. And then we did cross the area that they called the cheese factory. That was a dairy factory. And like back in the 1800s, that was basically impossible to get to, and, you know, just surrounded by wilderness. So it's kind of interesting. We didn't really see much up there, but it was pretty.
Yeah, there's not a whole lot that stands out about that day, really.
No.
Trey Mountain was a bit of a climb, if I remember right.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I did really like Trey Mountain and that shelter. Well, of course, we didn't stay in the shelter, but just up on top of that mountain, there was tons of great tent spots.
Yeah. And so was this where you were accosted by a mouse in the privy?
Oh, it was. Yes.
Okay.
It was. Not that it really matters, but I really don't like rodents very much. I've gotten better about it, but literal shithouse mouse ran across my foot when I was peeing. So then I started just picking my feet up every time I went into the privy. You know, the privies are what they are. They're not perfect, but they're not terrible.
Yeah.
When you need to go, you're happy to have one around, I think. So Do you remember what we ate for dinner? I feel like we might have had, like, busted into the mountain houses. Because I think I brought at least one mountain house with us.
Maybe.
Or maybe we fixed a mountain house and something else.
I feel like I fixed something with chicken in it because the chicken that I had dehydrated didn't rehydrate very well. And I feel like I remember fretting over that a little bit, but I don't know.
It starts to get blurry, I guess.
Because I know I also brought chicken and dumplings on that trip.
Mm-hmm.
I just don't know when we ate them.
I think we ate them on our last night, but we'll get there. I feel like I at least cooked our mountain house that night, but it doesn't really matter.
Oh, I think I also brought like a chicken Alfredo, and I bet that's what it was.
Ooh, that is what it was. I remember now. Yeah.
Because the chicken didn't rehydrate well, but it was still good.
It was delicious. So. Yeah.
Anyways, as you can tell, we like to, the food is a feature for us.
It is. Trey Mountain was just gorgeous. It was just kind of up on this bare ridge top. And so the views were just incredible. Kind of a special thing that we got to do is like everyone who wanted to got up early with their coffee and went and sat on this big bluff top area and just watched the sunrise and just sat there in quiet. And it was so nice.
It was really beautiful. That was a special moment.
It was.
No one was in a hurry, which... You know, sometimes other people start packing up camp and you start feeling kind of lazy and you're like, oh gosh, I better get going. But
Every
it's like
time.
No one was in a hurry this day. So.
Nope. And that was a special moment of the trip for me. I can say that Ramrock was probably my favorite campsite, but this was a pretty good one too.
Yeah, and kind of like a collective moment. Like we shared it with everybody basically.
It was nice. There. Yeah. So I had that we did about an 8-mile day leading up to Trey Mountain. And then that brings us to day 7, waking up watching those beautiful sunrise over those Georgia hills off of Trey Mountain. We met more people that day. I think at certain points the trail was fairly busy with day hikers, so we would get to visit in with folks. But I guess we did talk about some of them already. But
I do feel like kind of around this spot was... pretty busy. And we, you know, I don't remember everybody's names, but I do know we did run into a few through hikers that were, you know, finishing up their southbound. So
that was cool.
They were pretty close to the end at that point. It was kind of neat to talk to some of them.
So close. And, you know, I'd ask them and they really weren't ready to be done, you know, and it's going to be such an adjustment for them. And they're also skinny, but with huge calves.
Yeah, they definitely look like they've been hiking for 2,000 miles.
They did. They probably didn't smell any worse than we did, though.
Yeah. So I do remember this day being kind of one of the worst for me as far as just how I was feeling. Like, I think this was probably not my favorite day out of all of them.
I think we were really starting to get tired.
We were so tired, and we kept kind of like, I feel like at this point we had kind of adjusted our original like daily plan because we kept not quite ending up where we wanted to camp. And so, I don't know, I think I still was having a little bit of anxiety about whether or not we were going to be able to finish because it just kind of increasingly got more difficult as far as just fatigue and maybe not having enough calories in. But I just remember this day being really tough. We were trying to get to Dix Creek to the actual, like, campground. And I feel like we almost ran out of daylight on this day, too.
We did, pretty much.
I do remember stopping to get water, and then it's like we got to Dix Creek Gap right next to the highway, and we just genuinely could not go any further.
No.
Because it was only like 0.4 of a mile onto the tent site, but we were done.
It was uphill 0.4 of a mile, too, and it was dark at that point, and we were kind of over it. I will back up because I remember getting water, and we had to like hike down a hill to get to it. And we kind of got off. We didn't find it right away and kind of had to move. And I think that took some energy out of us.
Yeah. And then having to hike back out like uphill with like full up of water. Was kind of, it just was a little bit draining on the morale, I feel like.
It was. We did meet, I think, those Ironman fellows that day, and they were a big mood booster for me.
Yeah.
They were so proud of us.
Yeah.
So that was a nice thing, but I do think, like, we were just getting really drained, and maybe our calories weren't keeping up with what we were expending, but I feel like that is hard to do because I don't know about you, but even though I'm obviously super depleted, like I just don't feel that hungry when I'm hiking.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's my stomach's just in constant motion, so it just doesn't ever settle down. But
well, and you don't feel like moving if you're like bloated.
No,
so,
exactly.
There's a fine line there. You can't you try to get the calories in, but you also can't you got to go a little bit by how you feel too.
Mm-hmm.
Like you don't want to just shove a bunch of food in your mouth and then not be able to move.
I don't know. I think if you were through hiking, that'd probably be about a good time to have a 0 day,
Yeah.
After a week or so.
That seems like about what people typically do, and it kind of makes sense after getting out there and sort of seeing at what point my energy levels and everything just really tanked.
Right.
But,
and honestly, I think if we really looked at the calories we were burning, it's really, really difficult to carry enough food to keep up with what you're burning.
I know. I was already carrying 8.5 pounds. I can't imagine. I don't know how many calories was in that 8.5 pounds, but whew.
Yeah.
I do want to add that the water source where we got kind of lost and it was way down the hill, it was kind of worth it once we eventually found it because it was so pretty. There were the most beautiful rocks, and we did end up stopping and it was sort of like a little trickle stream waterfall, tiny waterfall situation.
It was gorgeous.
So we did stop and also have a snack there, I think.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we did. And there was granite boulders all over that hillside, and it was really beautiful. And I remember we found an old chair and a little camp spot down there, which was kind of odd, but really gorgeous. But we were just getting tired.
So yeah, meeting those gentlemen once we hiked back out of there was a little bit of a boost. I think they gave us some jerky too.
Oh, that seems right.
Homemade jerky.
The only thing I remember though thinking was just, although as much as I love talking to them, there's this constant thing of you need to keep moving. You just stopped.
Yeah.
Don't slow down, keep going. So that was definitely always in the back of my mind. But yeah, as Katie said, we ended up basically camping right next to the highway, which is definitely my least favorite camp spot.
That's the most sketch I felt the entire time.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure I had my knife right next to me, my knife and my pepper spray. A high point was that Caboose did end up passing through and he was going to go on, but we kind of sat and just hung out that evening. I think we all were just kind of tired. And
they did have a picnic table there.
Yeah, we were able to sit and actually eat at a picnic table and just kind of chat, and ended up chatting pretty late.
We did help Caboose work on his whiskey bottle that night. I think not a lot, but just a little bit.
Yeah, we just wanted to offer our assistance.
Yeah.
In case it was feeling too heavy at
exactly.
that point.
That's exactly what we were doing. Honestly, though, I think it kind of helped take the edge off that night because we were both kind of pretty drained, strained, stressed about being next to the highway, not exactly thrilled about where we were, but
yeah,
it was nice.
And it may sound silly, 0.4 of a mile, but if you know, you know. And
right.
We were done. I just remember being so tired, so achy. And also, for me, mentally, I was feeling just, cranky. And, if someone made me walk one more step, I was going to punch someone in the face.
I know. I get that. Yes, you do. And even the next day, it would be easy to think, oh, I could have kept going. But hiking up the hill the next morning and eventually, getting to the more established campsite, I was like, there's no way I could have done this last night.
Right.
So we did know that we were done.
We know our limits and we had reached them that day.
Right. So we just slept there next to the highway and nobody murdered us.
Thank goodness. It was a little noisy.
It was.
Of course, but
I think I went a bit mad that evening, and that is when I proclaimed myself Clammy Sammy.
That made it onto my notes, too. I said this is when Sam had her mini breakdown and declared, I'm Clammy Sam.
Yeah. It wasn't a crying breakdown this time. No. It was a giggling, I'm losing my shit because I'm so sweaty breakdown.
Yeah. Oh, gosh.
It was damp, guys. It was real damp in that tent.
It was moist.
It was so moist, and we were so gross and just not drying out. I think at that point, I was just getting wrinkled everywhere and not drying out. The tent wasn't drying out. Everything was stinking inside the tent. It was was intense.
Yeah, we laugh now, but like, oof.
Yeah.
It was a lot.
I really don't even know how bad it was, you know? Like,
unprecedented levels of clamminess.
Right. I have nothing to compare it to, I don't think. So Clammy Sammy did survive the night in her moist sleeping bag. Again, not our favorite, but we made it. Oh, I also just want to say that when you're hiking and then you like step on a highway, why is that so painful?
It hurts so bad.
It hurts your bones so bad. And it's like, I don't know why that would seem so much harder than rocks, but
I don't know, but it is. It feels immediately, you feel it in your joints and your bones. Like you said, it's just jarring.
It's like, I need someone to help me across this highway.
Yeah, and then you feel like you're going to get run over. I feel like a beetle of some sort that's just like emerging from the woods and trying to scuttle across the pavement. But it's like at this snail-like pace. I just cannot.
I know. I think we like clumsily ran across a few highways because you could hear cars and some of them are kind of in a little bit of a sketch spot. So it's like clunking, running across the road, trying not to fall.
Trekking poles just flailing because you don't know what to do with them.
It's like I'm a newborn baby. Anyway.
Like Bambi on ice.
Yes. It kind of felt like that, only more painful. I don't know why that is, but that's a real thing. Anyway, moving along. We're almost done at this point. We're getting close. We can see the end in sight. We know that we're going to make it on time. It's just a matter of getting it done. And I feel like that's almost a bittersweet thing too, you know. It
is. We were a little over 69 miles in at this point, so.
Right. We're getting close.
So day 8.
Day 8. I guess that's our final full day on trail. On this day, we crossed over into North Carolina from Georgia and entered the Nantahala National Forest, which was honestly some of the prettiest forests I've ever seen.
It was so beautiful.
You know, you wouldn't think it would change that much, like just changing states, but you are kind of changing areas and the scenery starts looking different. Yeah, and crossing the border, going into this, I felt like that would be such a huge moment. But it's funny because when that moment came, it was like take a quick picture of the sign and keep moving. I was so tired. We were so tired at that point. I had one journal entry from this day, and all it says was, tough day, so tired at this point, hard to eat enough. That's what I have in my notes, getting very tired, can't eat enough. Yeah. So we were feeling it. I will say hard. About that point, I started feeling like I actually had trail legs coming on me, though, you know. I know. So that's only a week in. Yeah. I am a little eager to eventually go past this point and see kind of how it feels. Yeah. Same. Just as a side note. So I have that day is about a 9-mile day. And again, we crossed into North Carolina and we stayed at Bly Gap, which is kind of a famous spot to stay at. It's kind of a major point, and it has this very iconic tree that you'll see in people's photos from the Appalachian Trail. It's pretty magical. Something special. And not just the tree. I really like that campground. I was tired and maybe getting a little out of my mind, more than usual at that point. But it was a really beautiful kind of spot. Yeah, it was kind of up, you know. There was a nice wind, and I wrote in all caps, "We like the wind." Yeah. This is where that encounter happened. Uh-huh. Yeah, I have starting to lose my shit, probably from hunger and exhaustion. But I think I got a little cranky at some probably well-meaning men that offered their opinion, and I did not want to hear their opinion. They were just trying to be helpful, but I don't feel like we were exceptionally rude. Just not, at that point we were ready to eat. I didn't have it in me to be too angry or personable. I was just what I was. But there was a lot of campers up there. Yeah. There ended up being quite a few. A couple new faces. I remember there being a lot of, like, we kind of were looking down a hillside from where we set up our tent. And I just remember a really beautiful fog. Like weaving through the trees. I don't remember if it was the evening or the morning. Probably the morning. Both. I know in the morning because I remember walking through some of it. Because that forest was just so pretty.
I do feel like this is when the clamminess really started, like, getting to me, because I do remember getting to camp and just, like, taking off my pants and wrapping my microfiber towel around, taking off my shirt and just cooking dinner in my towel and my sports bra.
Yes, you did.
I couldn't handle being enclosed anymore.
I forgot about that. Well, and, you know, the fact that it was, like, getting foggy and stuff, it was just damper out, so there was just no drying of anything. It was just almost getting more wet.
It's like my skin just wanted to breathe, and at that point I was like, I don't care.
We did know that that was our final night, so we kind of felt a bit more free to, like, bust into any food that we had left. I had some miso soup packs. I remember we drank that, and it was delicious.
That was so good.
I think we had some hot tea. Katy made chicken and dumplings, which was so good also. So we kind of just hit it hard on the meal that night.
We really did. And we also had another really nice campfire that evening.
More caboose.
More caboose campfire chat time.
It was really nice, though.
Yeah, and I do remember feeling like this kind of sadness about it being our last night. Mm-hmm. Even though at that point it was like,
Yeah, I feel like after I ate, I felt a lot better that day. And like I could talk to people without being terrible.
We needed to eat and not be walking anymore that day.
Yeah. So I remember I had a rough night that night. I just didn't sleep well. And I was, I think, tired of being in the sweaty coffin.
Yeah.
I got it in my head that I felt like I was in a coffin in the tent that night. And, like, I didn't sleep well.
I'm laughing.
I know.
I'm sorry.
No, it's okay. It's okay. I mean, it's kind of comical. I think that was the night I realized, like, I need more room, you know, which I'm glad I made it that long without feeling, it had never dawned upon me that, like, this just isn't maybe enough. I think I would be more comfortable with more room. So,
yeah,
at least for anything more than 8 days. So,
there also, that particular site had kind of a long walk down to the water source as well. But by the time we had kind of set up camp and everything, I do remember that evening being very relaxed, so it didn't feel too bad to traipse down. And sometimes it feels really good for your body, like we were saying, once you have the pack off and you're in, like, your camp sandals instead of your boots. I feel like it's kind of good for your body to keep moving just a little bit.
I agree.
So I didn't really mind going down there, and
I kind of enjoyed that one.
Yeah.
And it was coming out of a pipe there a little bit too, so it made it so easy to collect, and so it was just like not that big of a deal.
Yeah, I thought the same. I know it was a little bit dark, but I don't know. It was a nice unwind moment.
It was, and it was our last night, and we knew that, so it's kind of, again, just bittersweet. Final night.
Day 9.
I got to escape the water coffin that morning, the moisture coffin.
I have in my notes, final day, bitches.
Yeah. And again, that forest, walking through there after Bly Gap was just beautiful. After we got some nice tree pictures also.
Yeah,
well,
we took
I looked
some
terrible in all of my pictures. But,
you look half dead.
I know. But it was incredibly beautiful walk through the forest. It was steep though. We had some climbs that day. Yeah,
but the forest really made it worth it. It just was it felt magical.
It did. And like the weather was starting to turn, and so the colors were just starting to turn a little bit more.
Yeah.
That we'd moved further north, and it was foggy morning and just this gorgeous forest with a really clear floor. Like it wasn't very brushy, so just like these massive trees and the fog like dancing around the trees, and it was just really beautiful.
It was. That was a long climb though.
It was.
So I remember stopping a few times on that one.
Me too. It was one of my favorite sections just because of how pretty the forest was, but the miles seemed pretty slow. Mm-hmm. It was like we just couldn't get there fast enough in a way.
Well, in some ways, I think we were kind of like taking our time and going to the overlooks and, you know, just enjoying that a little more. I think we caught up with the gentleman that we had met that did the triathlons and all that.
Good. And
at one of the overlooks.
Yeah, I think they were with maybe son-in-laws or something, and met some other people coming from the other direction, and
yeah.
I just know we smelled so bad, but they were lovely people.
So I did also have in my notes that the food situation was pretty dire today. Like, I was pretty much down to maybe like one oatmeal packet that I was like, okay, I could eat that for lunch.
Right.
But about the time that it would have been a decent spot to eat lunch, we were kind of on the final descent down to Deep Gap, which also felt forever.
It did take forever.
I thought it would never end. So we just never found a level spot for me to be able to like set up my stove and cook oatmeal. And I didn't have a lot of snacks left. So at this point, like going down this long descent, this was a moment that I remember vividly being like so disconnected from my body and sort of like marveling over that of like, how is my body physically continuing to go when my brain is not even, it just felt like there was a disconnect there. And I don't know how my body functioned without my mental presence, but it did somehow. I just kind of felt like I was stumbling down the mountain.
I kind of felt like that by the very end. I remember that day, I just thought this was funny that we passed the sheeter.
Yes.
Somebody had kind of carved out a shelter sign and turned it into sheeter, which is funny because it's true. There was a sheeter that way, you know.
Yeah.
It's the little things sometimes. And I also remember we passed Chunky Gal Trail.
Yeah.
Which was, I just thought was pretty hilarious. And I read that is actually a really old trail, and the Cherokee would be very practical sometimes with their naming of things. So they call it what it was or what they saw on it or what they associated it with. So Chunky Gal Trail it is. Yeah.
That's
I know. It was just really gross and sweaty still, and kind of foggy and damp that day. I remember descending into Deep Gap where our car was and seeing the car and just feeling like I had been on another planet for about 9 days.
Yes. And once we got to the car, we sat down and tore into every food item that we had left pretty much.
We did.
And it started sprinkling, finally. Yep. This was the first time, as we were loading up the car, it finally started sprinkling.
Which I just love that.
Me too.
That was special. Something about that's kind of special.
I don't know how we got so lucky.
I know. It was a blessing for sure. Yeah, I have in my notes, I saw the car and I felt like I was returning to Earth, but didn't really want to, you know, even though I wanted desperately to see my children at this point. Wasn't exactly ready just to hop back in to
It's so
society.
Weird feeling. It's like there's a part of you that's celebrating and a part that's mourning.
I know, exactly. Caboose, he was kind of on his own. I think some of his group had decided to call it quits, and I'm not sure that they all wanted to, but they kind of had to because they were together and whatnot. So he kind of finished up near us, and he had celebratory like Mardi Gras beads, and he gave to us.
Oh yeah, I forgot about.
I still have mine. That was kind of a nice moment.
Yeah. So we were giving him a ride, and that was also kind of like a bittersweet. It was kind of sad to say goodbye. We had a fair amount of time to bond over those several days, so.
I've said earlier, but I kind of miss hearing Mark's loud ass voice, like laughing. So
it's like a beacon.
It kind of was.
You can't see him, but you can follow the laughter.
We still occasionally reach out and hear from him and touch base with him, and he's still out there backpacking.
Maybe one of these days he'll come hit the Ozark Trail.
I hope so. Oh, you know, I'm not sure what day this was, probably 7 or 8, but there was a rattlesnake right off trail, and Mark had left us a note, I think, for it.
He did.
And he was right. He's like, rattlesnake up ahead. And there was.
That's the first time I've ever actually heard that sound.
Me too.
I've just never really been exposed.
Me either.
It is kind of creepy.
It is, yeah. There was a couple other spots someone had left notes about snakes, and I think that was the only one that we actually saw the snake that the note was about. But I thought that was kind of cool.
The other, we did see one more, but it was not, it was just like a rat snake or something. It wasn't anything harmful, potentially harmful.
We gave our new friend a ride into town. Driving my car, I felt like I was piloting a spaceship. Like rocketing through space. I felt totally out of control, and like I had never drove a car before. And we're like winding through these North Carolina roads and hills, and I'm feeling like I could, I don't know, sail off into space at any second or something. It's funny how weird driving feels after you've been on your feet for so long. But I remember we like pumped up I think it was them Crooked Vultures CD I had it and like jammed out, and I don't know, fond memories.
It was a good time.
So we dumped Caboose off and said our goodbyes.
We ended up getting at the same hotel, right?
After visiting a few,
yeah,
or at least like there was a nice Marriott I went in the state that I was in, and they had some sort of event going on, so it was a little bit harder to find a good deal in a room, and we ended up just staying at the same Best Western, like Katie said, and I love that hotel now, though.
I do too. It was a little irritating because we were, in our state, and there was this one gentleman that was trying to book a group or had booked a group, but either way, whatever was happening, he was kind of being rude to the receptionist dude. They're not called receptionists, are they? I don't know. The front desk guy at the hotel. He was kind of just hassling him, and I guess technology-wise, the guy could only process like one thing at a time, so it was taking forever. And I'm like standing in line, I keep trying to like edge away from people because I know how dirty and smelly I am. Yeah. And meanwhile, there's this woman that's just one of those space invaders that like doesn't realize she doesn't need to stand directly behind me. And I kept trying to kind of edge away, and she just kept getting closer and closer.
We were so gross, guys.
So I remember being really uncomfortable at that point because I'm like, ma'am.
So gross. We ended up getting the room, and I think obviously we're like shower time. Maybe we had scouted for restaurants already because we knew what we had been talking about it for days. We knew we wanted steak and potatoes when we got off that trail. That was going to be our meal. So like pretty quickly we started looking for a place that had, a good steakhouse, preferably one that like served salads and breads and like all of the things, because I wanted a salad and I wanted bread too.
And the guy at the front desk was actually really sweet, and he gave us like, didn't he print us out a list or something?
I think he did. He was a doll.
He was so precious.
Also, their system was like from the 80s, I think. It was. The hotel system. So bless him for dealing with that.
And shout out because he really kept his cool, because it wasn't just that guy. Like the lady that was actually behind me was kind of a...
Yeah.
She's not very nice either.
No, and he was, kind of different and just was so patient with these folks.
He was.
Actually, he gave me a phone charger later that night because mine had busted, and he was like, oh, well, let me see. And he had a bunch, people had left in their rooms and whatnot. So he was pretty awesome. I wish I caught his name. But anyway, we got to our room. I hated to even like sit on the bed or anything until I got in the shower. So we took turns showering and whatnot. And I do have to note that I hadn't really given much thought to like after hike care, like clothing or cleaning products for myself. I mean, I brought things, but it was just kind of random travel size stuff. Like, if I were to do it again, I would bring more clothes options just because I had like one outfit and that's all I had, and I would definitely bring some like deep cleaning body products. I did not need moisturizing shampoo. I needed some like borax something.
I know. And a shower has never felt, oh God.
No.
So I will say, I'm a little bit embarrassed to say this, but I did hike the whole 9 days in the exact same outfit, like underwear included. Yeah. I did not bring any spare underwear or anything. So the shower was just amazing.
It was much needed. I did change my underwear a couple times, but I did wear the same outfit every day, and I really doubt I smelled any better than you did.
I'm kind of surprised my underwear didn't just disintegrate by that point. Like, it's so gross when I think about it now. I'm like, what were you thinking?
Or like stretch out, like get like where they're just like falling off.
They were pretty baggy at the end of
that. They did good though. I mean, really, you think about it.
They hung in there.
They did.
Poor things. Bless them.
Bless them. So we made our choice and we made the right one because we kind of went back and forth looking at different menus. Like we knew what we wanted. We had been talking about it. We had like told everybody we saw. Well, people asked that.
Yeah.
I feel like on the trail, they're like, oh, what are you going to get when you get off of here? You know, it's like steak and potatoes, baby.
Well, and part of the decision making for me, and this is so dumb, but when the dude made us a recommendation, the lady behind me just like pipes in, like loud enough for him to hear. Remember that?
About that?
She like chimes in and immediately starts bashing this restaurant that he recommended, and he just very sweetly kind of lets it go.
I know.
Well, we ended up going with his recommendation, and I don't know what her problem was.
It was wonderful.
Yeah.
They were super busy. They had like a band out on the patio, which would have been fun, but it was like an hour wait to sit on the patio, and we're like, oh, well, we didn't really come here to listen to a band. Like, please seat us inside, and they did right away.
And that also was like a bit overstimulating after just being out in the woods for 9 days. It was like, whoa.
I don't really need entertained right now. I just need fed. But it was really peaceful inside. I want to say the name because I just had I feel like it was just a great experience. Murphy's Chop House in Murphy, North Carolina. I just love this little town in general, but it was a really neat restaurant. But that area down there, it's so neat. It's like a southern mountain vibe, which is kind of weird combo.
It had such a mountain town vibe, but also just like a little southern town.
Right. I love that. So Murphy's Chop House was quite wonderful to us. I remember our sweet waitress was kind of wide-eyed at how much food we were ordering and eating, but she was really wonderful. Her name was Grace, and I remember that because it's my daughter's name. But she was just as sweet as can be about the whole thing. And I had, I think, prime rib. I had a skewer of shrimp. We had Gouda mac and cheese. I think roasted veggies, salad, bread. And then dessert to go.
Yeah, I had pretty much the same thing, except I just had a big ribeye, I think.
Yeah, that's probably it.
And a beer that I feel like took for the entire time to drink.
Ooh, a delicious stout.
It was really good. And I think it was local.
It was local.
So I don't remember the name of the brewery, but...
Oh, I might have it jotted down somewhere. I may have to look it up. But it was a tiny brewery. Yeah. Because I kind of looked it up thinking, oh, maybe we could get some of these to bring home with us. And I'm not sure that they even really offer that. So anyway.
But we barely spoke this entire time. Yeah. I told Sam that I felt like the scene in Jurassic Park where the kids are all disheveled and they're just like quietly eating and smiling at each other. It's essentially exactly what was happening.
It really, really was. I mean, it was like there was really no conversation, but it was peaceful. You know, there wasn't a lack of anything. We were just so happy to be clean and like eating one of the best meals in a way that I've ever had just because of the circumstances leading up to it. And the food was bomb. So
we ordered chocolate cake to go and we ate it laying in bed at the hotel.
They even sent, this little waitress was so sweet. She was really great. She like hooked us up with little ice cream cups to take with it, and it was like this gooey chocolate nutty goodness.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. So we took it back to the hotel and ate it.
Hotel cake.
Yes. Yes. And that was fun. That was just a fun night out and one of my faves, and you know, it kind of sadly wrapped up our trip, but I couldn't have asked for like a better ending in a way. It was simple but wonderful. Really nice. And honestly, like I don't think my meal, I ordered a lot of food. I don't think it was over 50, which I felt was really reasonable considering I'd ordered some extras and beer and everything. So
I don't remember having a heart attack, you know.
No.
And like you said, for appetizer, meal, beer and dessert,
it was worth it.
Yes.
And we had planned for that, I think, a little bit. We didn't want to go cheapo on ourselves or anything.
So something that's kind of funny about when we were driving home that I kind of forgot about was when we were like on the way, and it was raining a little bit, so we pulled off for a little bit, but there was the river that goes through there, and they do a lot of rafting and stuff.
The Ocoee.
And it was so funny because as we were driving by, we were kind of joking that, oh, we bet Caboose would raft that. And like Within an hour, I feel like he had texted us a picture and was like, I'm going to raft this at 2 p.m. or something like that. I love that.
That was awesome. Well, it was really neat to drive through that area, even though it was raining, and I hate driving in the rain. But we did it. We made it. But it was really just such a beautiful area to drive through, and we kind of hit it at dark on the way in, so we didn't even, we like took this amazing road right next to the Ocoee River for a ways. It follows it, and like we hadn't seen any of it.
Yeah, we didn't even know.
No, not really. So that was really...
That was a treat.
That was special. It was a treat. I do want to back up just a little bit and talk about the amount that I ate at the continental breakfast that morning. Yes. It was a really good continental breakfast.
I think we got some side eyes on that one too.
We did. We sure did, because I think we had one of everything and they had a lot to offer. Yeah. And in fact, I don't know how this happened, but people started like talking to us, and I like found these people that like had family where we live, which nobody lives here. So it was like, they kept trying to talk to me about folks like, oh, do you know so-and-so? Do you know so-and-so? And I'm like, I don't know, man, but I am like elbow deep in a blueberry muffin right now. I am trying to eat this. So much food was consumed at that continental breakfast, but it was delicious.
I think I made like 4 pancakes. Yeah. Had like eggs, sausage, yogurt, muffin.
Yes, everything. The things.
Everything.
It was really good. Biscuits and gravy, I think they had.
Yes.
Yeah.
All of it.
All of it was so good.
It was good.
Yeah. But the drive home was really long. I think we got caught up in more construction on the way home. It was raining that morning. It was just a slow trip. It was hard to make time. I remember we pulled over at a rest stop and ate the rest of our steaks.
Yeah. I love leftovers.
It just felt like we were never going to make it that day, though.
I know. We did put on some good podcasts and enjoyed that for a while.
Yes, I had that in my notes. Thank goodness for good podcasts. Otherwise, we might not have made it all the way home. It's a drive. I don't know, like 12 hours anyway, I think.
Yeah.
Depending on traffic.
We popped into a Walmart, and this lady just kept coming up to me and asking me to help her, like asking what was on sale. She asked me to help her find a shirt in her size. And I'm just like, ma'am, I'm trying to stretch my legs here.
What it was about you that... It's not like you were wearing like a navy blue vest or something.
I wasn't.
Like, that was strange. It was a long day back home. Oh, I did want to say, because someone had mentioned to us on trail, maybe one of the mansplainers, he was nice, but he was telling us about his favorite trail snack is his mom boils peanuts for him, which I know that's like a southern thing, is the boiled peanuts. So I did buy some at a gas station in Tennessee on the way home and brought them home, and we ate those gas station boiled peanuts, and they're pretty good.
But they were not like rave worthy, I feel like. No. Because he just would not quit.
Of course, I didn't have his mama's.
That's what it was.
Ain't nobody boil peanuts like your mama, I guess. I ate on those peanuts out of the fridge for a few days. That's kind of gross, but...
That's hilarious. I forgot about the boiled peanuts.
It's kind of funny that they just sell them in gas stations like that.
Yeah.
It's a southern thing, I guess.
I'm not going to think too hard on that.
No, it's better than other things, I guess, but...
I think we also made a little coffee stop at some point.
Oh, yes, that iced coffee. That was a lifesaver, too.
It was.
By the time we're getting close to the house, though, like, I was getting to where I couldn't see very well. Like, my eyes are tired. I was just trying not to, like, drive off the highway and get home as soon as possible. My kids were staying up for me to get home, and my husband texted me, like, Gracie's in the window. Oh, my God. I have to hurry. But we made it eventually. To warm hugs.
Yes.
Lots of warm hugs.
Reunions. And my anniversary was the next day, and it's funny because I got up and my husband was doing some yard work and stuff, and I kind of had like got up and talked to him a little bit, and then he went outside. We kind of decided we would just have dinner later in the day, and I ended up passing out just like face first on the couch, like dead, like face buried in the cushions on the couch. And had like maybe a 3-hour nap.
Yeah.
I was so tired.
Me too, but overall I feel like my body handled it pretty well, and my recovery time was pretty short.
Mine was as well. My body felt great. It was mostly fatigue and trying to maybe catch back up on calories. But I will say I have no idea on numbers, but I visibly lost weight during
I know
that
I did
9
too.
days.
Yeah, I know I did. My arms were skinnier and I mean,
felt
it
like
didn't
a
take
little
long.
emaciated child. But yeah, I feel like I ate enough in like a 2-day span when I got back. So.
It's so, you know, you hear people talk about like post-trail depression and stuff, and I think that is real. I feel great. And we've talked about this before. I mean, in one sense, I feel amazing after a hike. Like I learned a secret that no one knows hardly or something when I'm out there. Like I feel like I don't know, just different. It's just different. But it is also kind of hard and maybe a little depressing to get back into society. And
it's, I don't know, you're like riding this high of, for me, it's just maybe a lack of expectations out there. I saw this quote recently that said, happiness is reality minus expectations. And I feel like that's a mouthful. First of all, I had to sit and think about that for a while. I was like, damn. But anyways, I feel like that's kind of what it is out in the woods is individual moments may be difficult, but really there's no expectations out there for me, at least the type that I encounter in my day-to-day life.
Right.
And, you know, expectations do have a weight to them, like having to try to live up to a standard or just, you know, do the things you got to do to function in society. There's a weight to that doesn't exist in the woods for me. So
same.
It's like you come home feeling so light and then the weight starts creeping in again. And so I don't know. It's
just so different.
It is a weird.
I've talked about this before, but you know, when I'm out there, I just feel like it's just all about the very most important things, and like everything else seems so silly. And so it's kind of hard when you get back home because you have to start dealing with the silly stuff again. Even if it's necessary, it still feels kind of silly sometimes.
It does. And I feel like sometimes real life stuff, I call it real life stuff, but I feel like there's more room for insecurity in it. You know, when you're out backpacking, there's so few things you have to do, and you're out there doing it, and you feel strong, and you're providing for your like most basic of needs, and that really makes you feel like primal and badass.
Yes.
And then when you come home, and you don't necessarily have to do those things, it feels like a part of you is missing almost. And for me, there's a little insecurity over that of like, well, I feel like my best self when I'm doing these things. Like, who am I when I'm not doing these things?
I understand that. I think it's like a disconnect a little bit. I got to take off all these hats, and then when I get home, you got to start putting the hats back on, like your mom hat or your dog mom hat or wife hat, all these things, you know, and those things are wonderful, but some of them are stressful at times, or, I mean, let's just face it, a lot of the rigmarole is kind of pointless. Obviously not parenting and things like that, but it's a weird world we live in. Social media, all these things, you know.
Existing within society. Maybe not, you know, existing within our relationships, but within society where we have to worry about money and bills, and
the superficial becomes so much more center focused, and it's not like that out in the woods, you know, or wherever you are hiking. And
the political nonsense, which was very heightened at that point.
Exactly. And, you know, that never really came up with others. So, and it's really nice also just to be around people that like to do the same kind of thing that you do, and they understand why you like to do what you do.
I know. That really was one of my biggest takeaways from this trip, was just how amazing trail community is and how special those connections are that you make, even if you never see that person again. Like, there's such special connections.
Right. It's this one thing, you know, this one experience you guys got to do with each other, and that's pretty irreplaceable. It's just one moment in time, you know. You got to share it with some special people.
Well, with the exception of the few that are really trying to maybe make it into something else, I feel like people are more able to be vulnerable on trail, like more able to be their authentic self, and maybe part of it is the thought that, oh, I'll never see this person again.
Right.
So I do feel like there's a little more vulnerability and authenticity than you might run into, you know, at someone at Walmart or...
Yeah, and that's a lot of the reason I think a lot of us go out there. You know, we're ready for that. We want to strip down and feel primal in a sense.
Yeah.
Of just more of what exactly we are instead of all these things society require of us, you know?
So it's bittersweet. Now I feel like I have after trail blues just from talking about it.
But man, even though I did have those blues, I just was on top of the world after that trip for quite a while. Felt really good.
Really strong and really good.
Mm-hmm. Same.
Confident. I felt powerful.
Me too. Like, take no shit, you know?
So I had just a few notes on, like, if I were to sum up some of the things about this trip. Like, number one, the weather was incredible. We mentioned it briefly, but to be able to go out there for 9 days and encounter no rain until the very end was pretty incredible. But we also got to watch fall kind of deepening every day, especially, like, the last 2 days.
Mm-hmm.
Another thing that stood out was it was just nice to have so much water. It was really plentiful. I don't feel like we ever had to carry a ton at any given moment. Trail community is great. Backpacking is hard. I've never been more disgusting in my life, and eating enough food is very hard. Especially when you're maybe doing a long section hike with no 0 days and no resupplies. It's tough.
Mm-hmm.
That's my nutshell.
Those are excellent points. Yeah, I would say if you're ever interested in hiking the Georgia section, late September is a great time to do it.
Yes.
We couldn't have asked for better weather. It was almost like a little gift, you know. In my mind, it felt that way, that we just had such an incredible atmosphere the entire time. And I don't know, just really fond memories thinking back about this trip. And I wish I could do it again in a way.
I know. I'm so ready to do another longer one.
Me too. If you had the opportunity to do some AT hiking again, would you do it?
Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
Is that something you're interested in?
I'm interested in kind of continuing on with the sections.
Mm-hmm.
Like, if I went back, I would love to start where we ended and go on up into North Carolina.
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't necessarily need to do all the sections in order or anything, you know, depending on the time of year in the area. But I wouldn't mind going back and doing little, like, anywhere between 80 and 100-mile sections at a time.
Same. I think some of the further north sections would be a lot different, but would be interesting.
Mm-hmm.
I think New Hampshire will kick our butts pretty hard from what I've read. But then, you know, there's areas that go through, like, New Jersey and, you know, just, like, all these random states for just, like, little tiny bits. So, I don't know, that would be interesting.
It would
hiking.
be really fun.
Yeah, different.
No, I would be down.
I hope someday I get to take my kids out there. Maybe, who knows, maybe someday we'll do the whole thing.
I would love to just go back to Murphy also.
Me too.
And just hang out.
I could live in Murphy.
Yeah.
It was a really sweet little town. And right there on the Ocoee, and it's just really beautiful.
For some reason, ending this episode feels about the same as ending the hike. Like, I almost don't want to stop talking about it.
I know. It was really a wonderful experience. I'm so grateful for it. It was hard. I definitely was, like I said, kind of dealing with a lot of emotional stuff at that time. But that trip also taught me so much and helped me work through a lot of things. And, you know, everybody goes out there for different reasons. I didn't exactly mean to, like, work through stuff, but that's just kind of how it worked. It's just how it happened. And just a really special time and special memories, and I'm always going to cherish them. And it is like the birth of true Team Giggles, you know?
Yeah.
I think Caboose gave us that name because we couldn't stop laughing like idiots the whole time about, like, dirty jokes.
Yeah. The birth of Team Giggles.
Yes.
And yeah, it really kind of set the wheels in motion for us to eventually start talking about doing this.
Yeah, it did. Although I don't know that we saw this exactly coming.
No. I do feel like for some reason at some point along that trail we joked about, what if we had a podcast?
I know.
Like, making fun of ourselves.
Right. Here we are.
And here we are.
If only we could see us now back then. I think they'd be pretty proud of us.
Yeah. It was a wonderful trip. Everything we could have hoped for. Highly recommend that section. We will definitely link resources that we spoke about. They're so helpful. Again, shout out to trail folks all over who put in the time and the effort. And they just really help us all to be as prepared as we can. So
I think that we talked about how it kind of inspired us to be, I don't know, trail angels in a way.
Yeah.
When we can, how we can, that we want to give some of that magic back to.
Yeah, I would love to do trail magic.
Me too. So it was a wonderful trip, and we hope that you've enjoyed listening to our rambling telling of the story. And I hope you guys consider maybe going out and checking it out yourself. There's lots of places to day hike. We saw people, like I said, of all ages.
Yeah, if you're thinking about doing it, go ahead and do it.
Do it. Do it. Highly recommend.
10 out of 10.
Otherwise, I think we're about done.
Yeah, that's the Appalachian Trail, Georgia. The good, the bad, and the clammy.
Yes, most definitely the clammy.
Mostly the clammy.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Perhaps we should stop dicking around.
Do we have to?
I don't know.
Well, we'll talk later.
Okay.
Let's just get started.
Shall we record an episode today?
Hello.
Hello.
We're back.
We are trying to record something here.
But we're just chatting mostly.
Yeah. Drinking LaCroix is like, that's not going to make me burp on audio recording, but...
I'm going to throat gurgle at some point.
I'm doing it right now. Maybe it's just better if I get it out now. I know. Go on. I was like, which one did that?
It was Rio. You'll probably hear it. Ew.
It's okay. It's not your fault.
This is a toxic work environment. Toxic fumes. I have nothing to add. I'm just dilly-dallying because I almost feel sad to wrap it up.
I just don't... I guess I feel like I don't want to leave anything out, but I probably should just shut up because it doesn't mean it's going to come to me just because I'm still talking, you know?
All right, guys.
See ya.
Bye.
Bye. Love you. Bye.